Let's talk about it. Real truth and power.
Show will be starting in 1 minute. I got my brother JRICH on the line. We're going to be talking about some important topics, controversial topics.
Knowledge of self. Uplifting the community. Let's talk about it. Real truth and power. Health. Wealth. Knowledge of self. Uplifting the community. Let's talk about it.
All right, welcome to the Real Truth and Power Live podcast. I have my co-host, brother JRICH, getting ready to come in. We're going to talk about some important topics. You know how we do. Let's get into it and let's start the program.
You are now tuned in to Real Truth and Power, the show that uplifts the community with health, wealth, and knowledge of self. Here's your host, Everett Winchester.
All right, come on into the building, family. Peace and blessings. Before I bring my brother JRICH in, he wanted to talk about, of course, we want to talk about the riots that's going on, the incident that happened in Minnesota. But I wanted to play a quick video real quick, and then I'm going to bring brother JRICH in and to get your feelings on this incident. It's when the brother in Minnesota was being carried into the ambulance. So let's see if I can pull this up for brother JRICH.
The man. He gets out the way. Just look at this. This man who's touching him. All right? Not the officer. The man with the watch on right there. I want y'all to pay attention to something to him. He has a bulletproof vest on. All right? He has an officer's uniform on. No one paid attention to that when the ambulance pulled in. Not one EMT got out of the vehicle. But there's no medical equipment there whatsoever. That there were cops who jumped out of the back of that ambulance and picked up that man and put him in there. So they didn't even give him medical attention, and those were not the EMT. When they show them, look at that. Those are police officers. Those armed police officers are taking that man away. There is no EMT on the scene. It's like it's a sham. They got an ambulance and put police officers in there and went and picked that dead man up off the street. That was some straight bullshit.
Wow. So, man, that's, again, it's something else to be disturbed about. I am going to pull my brother JRICH in now and see if my brother's ready. Peace and blessings, brother JRICH. What's going on with you today? Now, I want to talk to you a little bit. We got a lot to talk about today. We haven't been going in a couple of weeks, so I want to make sure we get it all in. First of all, talk about the video that we were just playing. It was police that got out. The way they even grabbed the brother, you could tell that wasn't a trained, hospital or ambulance person. Talk about what that video is showing and your thoughts of that. Okay. Correct.
He became uncooperative. There's another angle of this video, man. That they were beating this man. They were beating this man.
Now hold on, brother JRICH. You had blanked out a little bit there, so I want to make sure that they get you all in. They said they didn't hear you, so I want you to go back, and I apologize. Go back and talk about the video again. You were talking about there weren't any anybody there that was medical that was there. Go ahead and go into that again.
Yeah, that wasn't trained That wasn't trained medical personnel. The guy that came and assisted them in getting him onto the gurney, he was clearly a police officer. That was not trained medical personnel. There was no medical attention given to this man on the scene. You know, they knew that he was dead. And they proceeded. Then no one gave him CPR. No one tried to revive him. I don't see anybody checking his pulse. No one tried to protect his head and his neck when they were transferring him onto the gurney. They called for 911. This ambulance had to stop somewhere to pick up these police officers, and then they just went and picked this man up off of the streets. It's disgusting because at no point did they ever attempt to save this man's life. No point at all.
Now, let me ask you that, because that is very deep. When you see the guy coming out, and I apologize, the video was low. When you see the guy jumping out, he has a bulletproof vest on. So that just threw and then you start to see him carry, and you do see it's all cops. Do you think that was a safety reason? I want to put everything out there so we give the situation, every bit of just cause. Do you think it was a safety issue? Because the crowd didn't seem that amped up. And do you feel that they just knew he was dead and to get the body out the way very quick? Why do you think that they just didn't have regular, nurses, hospital, ambulance workers coming out?
For whose safety are we talking about? Because if it was a safety issue and somebody was concerned about safety, then someone would have ran over and knocked this cop off of this guy's neck. If it was a safety issue, no one approached him. You know what I mean? And the biggest thing is that the officer's brother-in-law kept trying to step in front of the camera to block you from seeing who was getting out of the ambulance, who was picking him up. He constantly trying to block your view.
Now, for those that also couldn't see, it was a previous video, and it was kind of the same. I couldn't pull the other one up, where it looked like one of the officers checked the brother's pulse first. So it seemed to me that they already knew he had passed before they moved the body.
Still, people lose their pulse all the time. That's why you perform CPR. And as a trained officer, you should know how to perform CPR. And that's why I said, when at no point did you see anyone trying to revive this man. Even when he went limp and he was no longer moving, he was no longer speaking, no one moved from off of his body to say, all right, we need to do CPR, something's not right. None. They're trained in this.
Now, I want to, we're going to go to the phone calls a little bit, but I want to make sure we get a little bit in, because there was a lot going on as well. I want to talk about the riots. I also want to talk about my man Joe Biden. A couple of weeks ago, maybe a week or so ago, he was talking about you're not black if you vote for anybody else but Joe Biden. I'm not going to say, the choices names. What did you feel about that statement from Joe Biden, brother JRICH?
Yeah, when we get into Joe Biden, man, it's it's a bit of an upgrade from what we got in the office right about now, but it ain't much, man. It ain't much. We going from Trump to Biden, man. That's just like going from XP, you know what I mean, the XP Pro or Home Edition. You know what I mean? It's really not that great of a upgrade when you start looking at the things that, you know what I mean. Don't look at what he said. When you start looking at the things that he has done, when you start looking into, he was all for building the wall. He's actually signed bills long before Trump ever ran, you know what I mean, was running for president. He's actually signed bills to get funding to building, you know what I mean, a border around America, you know. So when Trump says, oh, let's build a wall, Biden already, you know what I mean, voted for funding for this some time ago. When you talk about women's rights, Biden has already voted on issues, you know what I mean, just to say like, oh, yeah, I'm all for women's rights, but you don't have the right to do this medically. You don't have the right to do that medically, so on and so forth. When you start talking about, you know what I mean, civil rights and everything, he's like, oh, yeah, I was a part of civil rights. No, I wasn't a part of it. I was a part of them with them in spirit. You know, I wasn't there. First, I was protesting, then I wasn't protesting, and so on and so forth. And then he turned, then the one bill that he actually did produce, you know, took civil rights backwards. So I have a lot of doubts, man. I don't have a lot of faith in Joe Biden, but the way I look at it, our issue is bigger than the issue that we're really facing is why is it that we only get to choose between Trump and Biden? That's the much bigger issue. And I hope that in the midst of all of these riots, we get a civil voice that comes out, man, because these DAs are voted in. These judges are voted in. These sheriffs are voted in. These mayors are voted in. These governors are voted in. And I hope that we can find a calming voice in all of these cities across America, man, to get these people out. If the first thing, once all of this settles, if your city council does not come together and says we need to start a citizen oversight of police action, then you need to get them off of your city board and only put people on there that is actually concerned with your wealth and health and well-being. Because if they're not willing to hold the police accountable, then they don't need to be there. Because this is going to continue to go on and on and on. And that is one of the first ways that you are going to get these people out of that position and put people in a position that are actually going to protect you, the people that are actually going to look out for you. Get them out of there. If they're against, you know what I mean, oversight of the police, then they're for the police.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you this. I want to stay on Biden for a minute. My man P. Diddy, Sean Puffy Combs, I'm used to call him from the 80s and the 90s. He said we need to hold our vote. The vote isn't free. You said there's obviously a better choice than another choice. You know, there is a better choice. But what should we be demanding for Joe Biden when it comes to the black vote? Clearly, we don't want to vote for this brother and don't get anything in return in 4 years. You know, we just proud that we got one person out but didn't get anything in return. What should the voters be asking for in reference from Joe Biden in order for him to get that black vote?
Voters should be asking for Joe Biden, and in terms of if we're going to continue to bail out billion-dollar corporations, if we're going to continue to bail out billion-dollar banks and currency holding organizations, that if you have a loan, if you have a house loan, if you have a mortgage through America, through any bank that is getting government subsidies, what are we getting? So in this so-called pandemic, you know, these billionaires made hundreds of billions of dollars in the midst of this. And on top of the money that they made generating just from selling like their products and their services and everything else, the government turned around and gave them billions of dollars more. What do we get in return? They say like, oh, if you live in a HUD house, then you don't have to pay your rent for the next 3 months. No. If you gave Bank of America $100 million, then Bank of America needs to be wiping $100 million of their mortgages off of the books. And it needs to start with the poorest of the people. And they need to be wiping those mortgages off the books. Capital One needs to be wiping those mortgages, those car notes, and everything off of their books. Why? Because you are getting taxpayer money to bail out your company, and at the same time, you are still holding the taxpayers that are bailing you out of your situation. You're still holding them in debt to the debt that they owe you. They already paid their debt when the government gave you that money. That was their debt. When you have like these cruise line ships that purposely register their businesses outside of the U.S. so they don't have to pay taxes. They don't have to pay taxes. They do not pay taxes, but you'll use your and my tax dollars to help them out in a time of crisis. No, you didn't want to be registered in the U.S. You don't take any U.S. dollars. And then you turn around and before this, you knew that this thing was going on back in November. So you automatically, as president and as Congress, you start cutting Medicaid funding. So you're cutting off health care to like the poorest of the people in the nation. And this is not a white thing. This is not a black thing. This is a poor people's thing. You are cutting off welfare. You are cutting off health care to the poorest people that can't afford it. And then you turn around and be like, oh, there's a pandemic. You know what I mean? Oh, you need to get to the hospital. And people are like, well, what are we going to get to the hospital for? I'm like, oh, the healthcare company will pay for it. Blue Cross, I work, you know what I mean, within the healthcare industry. Blue Cross is like, yeah, no, we're not. No, we're not. United Healthcare is like, no, we're not. You know, and then Cuomo is up there in New York and he's going on about, oh, we need ventilators. You know, New York is getting hit hard with this, getting hit hard with this. And while he's doing all like these TV promos and pumping up and trying to act like he's going against Trump, he cut Medicaid. He cut the very funding. He cut the very health care benefits of the people that were most at risk. You can't trust these people. If they're going to get into office, what we want back in return, we want the same treatment that they give people that actually don't need it. You know, why does Bill Gates need bailout? Why? He doesn't. You know, this guy from Amazon is about to be a trillionaire by the end of this year, man. This dude has made so much money off of this corona. He's about to be a trillionaire. And I'm not, hey, man. If you out there and you hustling and you getting it done, then you go ahead and get it done. But at the same time, you turn around and you lobby against paying mandatory sick leave. You have made over $200 billion in 1 quarter due to this pandemic. And then you tell your workers when they get sick because of this pandemic, oh, well, then you need to try to borrow some sick leave from your coworkers. Dude, you've made more money than anybody can ever imagine. More money than your great grandkids will ever be able to spend. And you can't afford to pay somebody sick leave, but you expect them to stand on their feet for 12, 16 hours, you know what I mean, pushing your product out the door so you can get it delivered within 2 to 3 days. And if Joe Biden is not going to address those type of issues, because this is modern day slavery, man. If you're working 12 hours and you can't show up to work one day and this dude is making billions of dollars off of your work, and he's telling you, no, I'm not paying you any sick leave. I'm not paying you sick leave. If he can't address those issues, then he shouldn't be in office.
Brother JRICH, you flowing. I'm going to take a phone call. If you're just tuning in, you're welcome to the Real Truth and Power Live podcast, where we provide health, wealth, and knowledge yourself. I'm here with my co-host, my brother JRICH. He is flowing today. I'm going to take a phone call. Last 4 digits, 8058. 8058. I'm bringing you in now. Can you hear me, caller?
What's going on, King?
What's going on? What's your name? Where you calling from?
There's no Mason. No Mason 10-2 approved. I'm actually in Philadelphia right now. You hear me?
Yes, I
Can
hear
you. Hear me?
I hear you better. And your name again?
Yeah, this is Omasius.
Oh, what's going on, Oasis? Peace and blessings, my brother. I got brother JRICH on the line. I'm glad you in here because I want to talk about the village and everything you're doing.
I'm going to get off the. I was watching it live and on the phone too, so I just closed the live.
Okay.
So that I won't have.
You good? You still there? Brother J. Rich, you there? All right, while I'm bringing them back in. Yeah, I got y'all. Both of y'all there. All right. So go ahead.
Busy, man, to get busy.
So I had lost you there for a minute. Run that back. What's your feelings about what's going on now with the riots and everything?
With the riots, one of the things that I think is being massively overlooked right now is the fact that, number one, it's definitely about the fact that we are tired of getting killed. But number two, you know, we're looking for the criminal justice reform, but we also looking for economic reform too. And a lot of people are saying, oh, we don't need to be looting, but you got to understand, people are out here hungry. We're not only protesting getting killed, we're protesting this systematic oppression economically that has been keeping us from acquiring resources and of the quality of life that we deserve as God's chosen children.
And they locking us out of being able to get our unemployment. They can't even get our
Most people right now haven't even gotten their unemployment checks yet. People are still trying to get money who haven't got money yet. So most of these people right now looting, you know, they see an opportunity to acquire some resources for their family, for themselves, to possibly maybe make some money off of possibly. Because economically we've been shut out of the system of abundance and quality of life for so long that now it's like it's not just about us getting killed physically. It's about us getting killed every day. I'm in Philly right now. They looting stores right now as we speak. They broke into the Rite Aid right now. It's really going crazy like out here because people are tired. People are mad. People are angry. So I'm happy that you create this platform and that you guys are doing your thing to make people aware of what's going on, man. Because you know we definitely have to understand that these are not thugs out here. It's not people who just want to be terrorists too. You know, we have been through terror every day. You know. So I just wanted to add that little bit, man. I appreciate you having me on, man.
Hey, I appreciate you for calling. Real quick, talk about the platform you're providing, the new social media platform for Black people you're providing. Real quick, while I got you on here.
Yeah, man. For me, yeah. So my major focus is economics, man. So economics is energy connected. It's all about engagement, ways that we can engage with each other to be able to provide resources, because that's what it's all about, man. So one of the main focuses was about us being able to engage. So created the Nagaru Village Fly Society, which is cooperative economic community. You can definitely sign up at Nagaru Village, NAGARU village.mn.co. You know, Nagaru, Native Autonomous Gods of all reckoning, man. We have to understand. We have to remember our awareness to the connection to the source. You know, and we got to take back our resources to create, and we're gonna be able to do that together. So right now, the unrest is here. The calm before the storm is here right now. We going through it, but it's about to be peace because. We now realizing that we have to work together to be able to self-actualize and produce resources for ourselves, you know. So Nagaru Village, man, Fly Society, cooperative economic community, please, you know, download the app, you know, NagaruVillage.mn.co on the Mighty Network. And, you know, it's about us coming together, engaging together, but also join the tribe, find out which tribe is you. You know, whether it's the farming agriculture tribe, the media tribe, the political tribe, whatever. You know, we just want to create a place where we can engage and be able to create together. And that's what the platform is all about, man. So I appreciate you definitely reminding me to shout that out.
No doubt. I appreciate you for calling. And hold on 1 second before I let you go. I'm going to make sure I put that link up in there so everybody can see it. Let me see if I got that up right now. Hold on one second, because I want to just make sure I promote that too, and get that information out to the people. And if you guys got to check this out, it's a great platform.
After all
for
this is over, man, we got to be able to actualize it. You know.
Right, I got
you. We often have these. I was saying we often have these, unrest come up and these things happen, but we gotta utilize this energy and transfer this energy into being able to actually create the autonomy that we deserve, you know, as children of the Most High, you know. So that's what it's about, man. It's coming together.
I appreciate you again, my brother. I appreciate you again, and we definitely got to hook up so I can get you on here.
Definitely.
All right. Brother Jay, all right, I got another caller on. I'm going to get to you in 1 second. Brother JRICH, what do you have to say to that caller? And then I'll be taking 6109 next. 6109.
I think that's a beautiful thing, man, and I hope that that's one of the biggest things that come about of all of this, man. That we learn to pull our resources together. Stop going to like these beauty supply shops, man. Instead, if you got like about 4 or 5 females that you know to do nails and do hair, put your money together, because these Koreans, man, they're not going to sell you hair unless you're willing to buy $20,000 worth of product, $15,000 worth of product, $30,000 worth of product, and it's ridiculous to try to put that type of pressure on one person. But if you do it the same way they do it, and you come up with your own network of people, of salons all around like the city and outside of the city, and then, you know what I mean, all of y'all put your money together, and then you go to them and say like, oh, well, you need $30,000. Okay, well, then you send us $40,000 worth of product, and then you get going. And that's the way to go. And I'm hoping that, you know what I mean, more people call in to have platforms to bring us together, man, with like this economic solidarity, man. The biggest thing that people miss out, man, on like the marches, man, was the boycotts. It was the boycotts. It was the withholding of the money, man. You like when they seem like, oh man, you know, we hold the biggest buying power in America. And when you realize that fact, that all you have to do is not spend your money, then they'll start paying you some attention.
I'm going to take another phone call, 6109. And before I take that call, I just want to make, that was an excellent point you made, Brother JRICH. I think sometimes we think and we upset and we angry and we rioting, but there's also an economic power that we have. We just need to stop supporting a lot of these businesses until we get what we want in society. Let me take the next caller. That is 6109. 6109. Are you there, my brother? Peace and blessings. 6109. What's your name and where you calling from? Let me see if I can get him. 6109. I'm going to put you on hold real quick. And I am going to go to 6117. 6117. 6117. How you doing today? Are you there?
Yeah, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. What's your name?
What's
your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Fred. I'm calling right outside of Pittsburgh.
How you doing today? You're not a Steelers fan, are you? You're not a Steelers fan, are you?
Yeah.
I'll let
marry
you
into a family.
Oh, you got to pass, then. You got to pass. You got to pass. You got to pass.
Yeah. I was listening to your show, and once again, you guys are having some great insights. And I have to agree with Mr. Richardson that besides just the protests, the African American community and their supporters outside of the African American communities, they need to use their wallets, show their frustration with this, how the society is doing right now towards these communities of color, and also poor communities in general, regardless of color. They need to show them that you just cannot operate this way anymore. You have to withhold money to make yourself heard.
Right, you're right.
If I'm making, yeah.
No, you're making. Sorry to cut you off. You're making definitely you're making a lot of positive leeway here, because I think a lot of people don't understand that the economic power is what we all should be shooting for, economically, politically. And sometimes we go and we're getting frustrated and we're doing all of these things. But like you said, one of the main things in the early 60s that started a lot of the great movements was boycotting. We're not going to use your buses. We'll use our own buses or stuff like that. Brother JRICH, you want to go in on the call as well?
Yeah, man. I think that when you realize like the power that you hold economically, everything changes. Everything changes because it's a very, very simple thing to do, as in just not spend your money. And people think, oh, we got to do this, we got to spend money on this, we got to spend our money on this. And then the reality is, all you really have to do is just stop spending your money. They look to us. Did you notice that, once they start talking about sending out these stimulus checks, all of a sudden Best Buy is emailing you 5 times a day about the flat screen TV, about this, about that, get your appliances now, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Now they're talking about another stimulus check coming out. Now, you know what I mean? Macy's is hitting me up. I got Kohl's hitting me up. I got, all these places out the woodworks, coming out. Someone like, oh, this is a sale, this is a sale. Nah, man, I'm not buying anything. I'm not buying anything at all. Only got like one thing on my mind right now that I'm looking to purchase, and I'm looking to buy that from a black business owner. I appreciate you, Big Freddie. Yeah, man, we got to get up, man, and get together, man, and continue to build not only our communities, but man, the important thing is when people look at this rioting and everything going on, it's always seemed like an isolated incident when black people riot. But when they burned down Oklahoma and they burned down Black Wall Street, when they burned down the neighborhoods in Georgia that were predominantly black, that were affluent, nobody blinks an eye, nobody says anything. When they go through,
of course not, because that was
sure, yeah, man. And it's embedded in American history. Anytime like black people started to pull themselves together and grow economically, the Klan, the white nationalists, they came in and they killed, as many people as they could, and they burned these cities to the ground. They burned these towns to the ground, or they got, they got the mayor to approve highways to come through their town. To break up the town. So now everybody is being moved out of there so they can build a highway, or better yet, so they can build Central Park.
Exactly.
People need to go back and look at the history of Central Park. Central Park was a very affluent black community. It wasn't Central Park. It was a black community that they kicked all them people out of there and then built the park up in New York. You from New York, right, Big Brother?
Yeah, because actually Harlem was actually Dutch, and that was then it became African American. And once they built the park, a lot of the African Americans, many of them who were descendants of Revolutionary War soldiers, just simply moved a few blocks up. So, yeah, you I mean, once again, I have to agree with you about the stances that the African American community and the poor communities need to take economically. If you want to make a larger noise than simply a riot or a burning building, it's close your wallets and make sure that you hurt them that way.
And I want to make this point too, that and this is not a race thing; it's a right and wrong thing. There are a lot of white people out there as well, side by side with black people. So I do want to say that, this is actually a thing I think that we need to look at and say, this is just a right and a wrong thing. And this is something that's really wrong that we got to correct. Go ahead, caller.
And that's why I was saying, when I said the African American community and also the poor community, communities who are not so affluent. You could even include, if you want to, lower middle class. Gentleman who probably has a good paying job, but still needs his wife to go out there and also work in order to just make ends meet.
Right.
So yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not just black and white, but the thing is that the brunt of it, the brunt that this society essentially, the way it exerts its pressure, it's felt mostly on the African American community, and also to an extent the Latino community, and also the indigenous community. That is, the indigenous community goes through, and they go through poverty that's only really seen in third world countries, and they're here within the United States themselves. So yeah, it's not just like you said, it's not just black and white. Excuse me, it's both black and white, but like I said, it's the African American community that always seems to bear the brunt.
Well, I want to thank you for calling. Calling, please call again, and thank you for that. Was just a very knowledgeable, uplifting call. So I definitely appreciate you.
Oh, thank you for giving me the time.
Not a problem at all. You too. Have a great evening. All right, brother JRICH. Let me try to get this one more caller again. Hopefully he's still on. Let me see if I still got him. He may be gone. I might have lost him. All right, we'll go in on that call a little bit, JRICH. So that was a good call right there.
Yeah, man. Like unification. I think at the end of the day, man, no matter what happens and what turns out, man, unification. The scariest thing, man, that the one thing, the biggest thing that got Malcolm and Martin killed was coming together. Was people understanding that we're in this together. The Poor People's March, man, the Poor People's Movement. You know what I mean? They may shoot and kill us in the street or what have you, but you're just as oppressed as I am. You know,
right.
They're hitting you with they're hitting you with the same crimes and hitting you with felonies and then telling you can't vote, you can't get a job, you can't do this and you can't do that. Yeah, you have a little more privilege than we do. You know what I mean? But at the same time, they're oppressing us both. You know,
right.
And when people start to come together and understand, man, that this oppression is systematic, man. It's systematic. It's not looking out, you know what I mean, just to get rid of like one group of people. It's looking to get rid of a whole group of people. So when people are on Facebook and people on Instagram and they're pointing out people that they know as being police officers, you know what I mean, that's taking part in riots. You know, when you see the New York police running people over with their cars in the midst of a riot over police brutality, and you're still out there. You're still brutalizing people during a march against police brutality. I watched this one officer hit this woman with a bike. You know what I mean? He literally picked the bike up and swung at this woman. You know what I mean? She didn't touch him. She didn't. You know what I mean? She wasn't. You know, she didn't touch him. She was just voicing her opinion, and he swung and tried to smack her with this bike, and then somebody else hit him, and so on and so forth. You are inciting, you know what I mean, people to violence because you're being violent. You know, I don't know, it's countless videos I've seen where people are not even protesting. They're just out there partying. They're out there having a good time. They're blocking the street. They don't want to be violent. They don't want to be seen as violent. They got music playing, but then you have a whole nother group of people that I don't even think cares about police brutality. I don't think they care about Brother Floyd, man, they got killed. I don't think that they care about Orlando. I don't think they care about any of these people that have been killed by the police. What they want to do, they just want violence. They want anarchy. They just want to be a part of the confusion, not a part of the coming together. And right. you have to separate yourself from these people, because at the end of the day, it's a lot of those people that, you know what I mean. It's the same. For instance, the Freddie Gray so-called riots, peaceful marches. You had a small handful of people that went out to take an advantage of this peaceful protest to break into stores. They didn't care anything about what happened to Freddie Gray. They didn't care anything about police brutality. They wanted to break into stores, and that's what they went and did under the disguise of a peaceful march. And I think a lot of times you are having the same thing happen in a lot of these cities. The vast majority of these people are just marching peacefully. One of the most disturbing things that I seen this morning was up in Minnesota, a tank rolling through the neighborhood at the break of dawn, and they're shooting at people that are looking out their doors trying to figure out why in the world is the military marching down our streets. We're not protesting. We're not in the streets. We're in the houses trying to figure out where this tank came from.
Hold on, brother Jay Rich. I want to get to the phone call real quick. I'm gonna try to get this brother back on 6109. Are you on the air? 6109. Are you there, caller? Let me see here. Make sure, because I see him on the line. 6109. Your last 4 digits. 6109. Are you there?
Yes.
Oh, I got you.
6109.
Yes. What's your name and where you calling from?
Arthur Chisholm, Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, first of all, brother Jay Rich, I want to introduce you to this brother. He's in the Collective Black People Movement with me, brother AC. He has a phenomenal show coming out on the network. Talk about your show real quick for me, brother AC.
Okay. Let me first say that if we get disconnected, I've been having problem with this phone all day, and we just got disconnected a few seconds ago, and I had to call you back.
Okay.
But years ago, what started this project was, I've always been self-employed, and one day I was on the en route from Savannah coming to Charleston, and I said to myself, there's got to be more to life than what we are living. We don't control anything. We just consumers, most of us. And that brought on the show. And I can tell you a long story about what got me into where I am. But I'll just start with the fact that I think it was somewhere around in 2011. I started the show called AC Fun Time Superstars because and then let me tell you this, and then I'll get into that. When I was a little boy, my mother used to give us castor oil, and the castor oil was nasty. So she was smart. She would put honey in the castor oil, and that would make it taste like honey.
Okay.
So we would drink it, and after we would get it down in our stomach, we would taste that nasty castor oil. But a couple of days later, we would no longer be sick. So I use that concept because people's attention span is short. So what I started doing is going around in the community, talking to people about what's going on in our community that's not getting the proper attention. And then I start talking to the community leaders to address the issues. But then I would do 3 minutes of entertainment. That was called the honey. And the 3 minutes of information was called the castor oil. So we would mix the two together, castor oil and honey. So we started the show up, and as the show went on, I think we took the show up until 2000. I think I took the show to 2016.
Okay.
2016 is when it came out of the show, and I'm gonna try to be brief because I'm long-winded. Okay, but presently, what I'm getting ready to do now is I realize that we've got gifts, we've got talent and resource all over the place. But the problem is, Jimmy doesn't know what Michael is doing, and Michael doesn't know what Jerry is doing, and they're all over the place. So what we want to do is connect people's gifts, talents, and resources together so we can start changing, building a new reality to change our economic situation. Because right now, what's happening now is we've got a lot of good, honest people that have turned into crime because just like everybody that's come on the line has been saying the same thing. We are just sick and tired of being killed in the street, treated like second-class citizens, and not being able to come to the table and have a piece of the pie. So what I would want to do here, and the brother, would it be correct to say the people who are teaming up with me? But I'm also looking for partners out there to team up with me. If you got information can feed the minds of the people, I'd like you to team up with me. And I'd also like, if you got gift, talent, and resource that you can bring to the table, that you're looking for someone in another town, another area, that connect with you to take you to a new level, then we need to hook up and get this information connected so we can get out of the situation where we're in, so we can start building businesses in our community so we can no longer be consumers. Brother, you want to add anything to that? Because you know all about what I'm doing.
No, you're doing a phenomenal job. And the name of the show is AC. So what's the name of your show again, brother AC?
AC Fun Time Superstars. Now, what I'm doing presently, every week I share a video from our previous television show, and I link it to what we are dealing with in our lives today. That would be the title. And presently, you can reach me on Facebook, Arthur Chisholm, and I'm riding a white horse. And if you've got information that can feed the minds of the people, then we'd like to talk to you. Or if you've got gifts and talents that would help our people connect with you, or you connect with them, so we can go to a new level and get a new reality for the new world that we walk through, then we need to connect.
All right, brother AC, you breaking up, but I appreciate you for calling. Have a blessed day. All right, have a good one. You still there, brother JRICH?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, man, like that, the Collective Black Unity website, man. We need to put that out there because we have a lot of black business owners, man. We need to be able to connect people to those people so that we can start to build like these relationships, man, and unify like our buying power. Buying power is huge, man. It's huge when you start talking about no matter what product it is, whether it's haircut products, whether it's lumber, no matter what it is you're doing. When you start talking about computers, if you got your own, you selling cell phones, whatever it is, if you can link up with like 5, 6 other people and y'all bring your money together collectively, your buying power and your leverage and being able to get better pricing so that you can give your people better deals is huge. Because one of the biggest things, as we both know, you know what I mean, is that when you walk into like a black corner store and they selling water for $2, you're like, oh man, why I got paid $2 for the water? But you walk into 7-Eleven and you don't blink an eye when it's $2.50.
Right.
But you have that buying power to be able to sell, you know what I mean, water and undercut, you know what I mean, 7-Eleven even more. You know, now you're able to take away their customers and build money within the black community. And once you start getting a certain amount of revenue coming in, now you're able to hire people that live in that community. And that's the way that it used to be. My grandfather ran his own business, and everybody that he hired lived in the same neighborhood as him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or they knew him in some type of way, or knew somebody that knew him. And this is how we kept each other employed.
Right. Before I take another call, JRICH, I got another call on the line. I want to just go over this real quick. As you can see up there, we go right over here in the red link. That is the website to the Collective Black People Movement.org. You really want to get with them right away. The membership is like 27 cents a day, and they're not even stressing you paying the membership right now. They're stressing the power of numbers. So I want everybody to go on there, sign up, get to know what this organization is about. We're about to push the whole new YouTube channel, which is going to be powerful. It's going to be a lot of shows like mine, cooking shows, shows like AC Fun Time, Real Truth and Power Live. Brother JRICH will have a show on there. So we are really excited to pump up this new platform. And again, it's all black. And then right here, this link, you want to check this link out. It's a black social media network for all of us to put our post in. It's like the black Facebook. So I know you guys might have heard of Dr. Boyce Watkins Black Enough. This is something more powerful. Get in there now. I'm telling you, you're going to really love the powerful information. And caller, you are on the line. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Peace and blessings. What's your name and where you calling from?
This is John Morant calling from Owensville.
Reverend John Morant. What's going on with you, Rev?
Hey, what's going on, E? How's everything going, man?
Everything's going well. Everything's going well. Wanted to talk to you. What is your opinion about what's going on in this place and time? Where we at with the rioting and things of that nature? Just drop some gems on us for me.
Well, of course, always bring in my spiritual concept to situations like this. I am totally against the rioting. Because in the rioting, we're destroying our own cities. We're destroying the very businesses that share as, I would say, economic growth, and also share as our source of means, source of food, source of clothing. So I am against rioting, but I am for peaceful protesting. Peaceful protesting is the only thing that will make change. It's the only thing that will make change in this world today. We turn back history, the days of Martin Luther King, how he protested. Changes were brought about. I said, but even in protesting, you're going to deal with, there will be people that are going to be martyred for the change. And unfortunately, that's the world that we live in. So I am for peaceful protesting against riots. I'm totally against that. More blood is shed when individuals riot. So I think there's a better way we can voice our opinion. Our voices will be heard. We need to get out and we need to vote. We need to vote. We definitely need to vote. We need to make changes on the state level. We need to make changes on the federal level. And so we need to really get out and vote. This election coming up, there's election coming up in a couple of weeks. Well, matter of fact, Tuesday. Hopefully everyone has voted. And then we have the big election in November. We need to vote. This election year is so important. We can control the House and the Senate. So we really need to get out and vote.
Before I let you go in with the Reverend Brother JRICH, Reverend, just talk about it. Brother JRICH had mentioned, like you were saying, how we used to do back in the day as a people. He wasn't really protesting; it was more boycotting. What do you think about that? Is it a lack of leadership that's causing a lot of these things to happen? Should we have more leadership to start using our money to make a statement in these day and times?
I think so. It's so funny you talk about that and how about putting economics back in our community. I don't know if anybody's seen a movie called The Banker.
Yes.
Have you heard about the movie called The Banker?
Oh, yeah, it's a phenomenal movie.
Oh, my goodness. It's such amazing how two African Americans brought up wealth and then turns around and loan the money to, the business so the businesses can prosper. And I mean, man, that right there, that was that's a blueprint on how, we can be very resourceful if we come together as one, but in order to do that, that mentality has to be destroyed that has festered in us over here, which is divide and conquer. And Jim Crow has put that in our mindset, divide and conquer, the have and the have not, and we need to destroy that. I said, because, we're fighting among ourselves. One of the questions that I see is should we defend ourselves? I know that's in one of the questions tonight. It's about should we defend ourselves?
Yes.
But the thing of it is that who do we defend ourselves against? There are four entities that the black man has to defend himself against. We have to defend ourselves against Corona. We have to defend ourselves against the police officers. We have to defend ourselves against citizens that do not look like us. And then finally, we have to defend ourselves against people who walk like us, talk like us, and look like us. But those individuals who walk and talk like us, even though they are color, they may not be our kind. So we have to defend ourselves against so many entities, and we have always been in that mode of survival. We've always been in the mode of survival. We have never stopped defending ourselves because of the slavery. If you know anything, slavery has caused us that mentality to always survive. We're always in a survival mode. We're always defending. We can't trust anybody, And so I think that we have to destroy or tear down those layers of those fabrics that we have in order to try to get ahead first. and we got to build up trust in one another. And then I think we can move forward.
I got to get to some more calls, Brother John, but just tell the people how they can get in contact with you, and then before I let you and Jay Rich go in, because I know y'all gonna flow for a second.
Yeah. You can contact me at jmoran40@gmail.com.
And that was John Moran40 at Gmail. Got you.
Yeah,
Got you.
jmoran40@gmail.com. Yep.
Go ahead, Brother Jay Rich. So I can take another call. Go ahead.
The Reverend made two great points, and going right back to what I said at the very beginning. Judges are voted in, DAs are voted in, the sheriff is voted in, your city council is voted in, your representatives are all voted in. You got to get out there and vote, and if they're not, you know what I mean, on a platform that benefits us, and a lot of them look just like us, but they're not on a platform that benefit us. The other thing, when you said about like the banker, true story. Hyattsville, Maryland, used to be all white, and I'll make this brief. Hispanics started moving in, whites started moving out, more Hispanics moved in. They had nowhere because, like, you know what I mean. Some people are undocumented, so some people are documented. They had no place to bank at. They had a couple of people that started working at Bank of America. They took their money to Bank of America. Then they tried to get loans for houses. Bank of America was like, nah, you know what I mean? Y'all doing construction. It's too seasonal. It's this and that. You know, Bank of America gave them the runaround. Same runaround they give us. What they did as a community was, okay, no problem. We're going to tell everyone to pull all of their money out of Bank of America, and we're going to find another financial institution that's going to give us loans so that we can start buying houses. Now you ride through Hyattsville and through Riverdale, and just about the whole staff and all of those Bank of Americas are all Hispanic, and they give loans to buy houses. They come together as maybe two families to buy one house. Once they have enough equity in that house, they take the equity out, they buy another house. It's the exact same thing that we can do if we just pool our resources together. I think that you make, and I tell people this all the time, Hyattsville was not like that. Hyattsville was like that because they used their financial power. They used their financial power, and they went in there and they put pressure on Bank of America and made them give them loans.
That was powerful. But John, you want to close out before I take a next call?
Yeah, sure. Man, that was excellent, man. I tell you, man, that was excellent. And if we just had that mentality, learn from our Hispanic brothers and sisters, you know, we will be better off. We will be better off to come together, pull our resources, and move forward, and be a prominent people like we were made and destined to be.
Right. All right. Well, thanks again, Reverend John Moran. And drop your email for me one more time if anybody wants to reach out to you.
Yeah. JMORANT40@gmail.com.
Awesome. Appreciate your call.
Thank you, sir.
Guys,
take care.
All right. That was Reverend John Moran. He's always blessing us with the knowledge. You got to check out some of our previous shows we did with the Reverend. Is religion holding black people back? That was a powerful one, and he's been in a lot of controversial shows. So I definitely want to put y'all down with that. Let me take the next call, 4653. I'm taking the next call, 4653. You are live on the air. Are you there, caller?
I am.
Peace and blessings. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hey, it's Magenta Prairie. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm sorry, your name again?
Magenta Prairie. It's Kelsey.
Oh.
I was on your show.
Oh, what's up, Magenta? How you doing? I didn't know that was you. I got you. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. You wanted to add to the convo tonight?
Yeah, this is with everything going on, it's really, I kind of like have been telling people, like, you know, don't take that bait that the media is going to be feeding you, because I feel like this is the type of stuff that what happens is there's an uprising, and then they take the quote unquote the rioting and the bad, and they put that on media, and then you hear the white community, well, that's just not the way to go about anything. And we completely overlook what got people to that point of anger and rage and being unheard for so long.
Right.
That's a conversation I try to start with a lot of other white people. I mean, I was having this conversation with my dad and my mom earlier today, and telling them, white supremacy is a well-oiled machine. And what's happening right now, this is all because of white supremacy, that we're here where we are right now. And this is a system that is not benefiting people of color, and it wasn't made to benefit people of color. And I don't know, violence, rioting, all that stuff, I'm not saying I agree with it, but I understand why you would feel that way. It's completely justified. I mean, really, it's a change. Not the colonizer. No. It's centuries. Centuries. I mean, this is a well-oiled machine, and unfortunately, what's happened is with white supremacy, it's created for generations to come, purposely. Minneapolis. I mean, that's just one city for an example. Creating the, I believe they're called land covenants. I mean, this is the type of stuff cities have been doing for decades, where they would put on land deeds specifically that it was only allowed to have home ownership by people that are Caucasian.
Right.
And that creates decades, generations to come, to have a setback that people in the white community will never understand.
Yeah.
And so I feel for people in these areas that are getting the brunt of the fires and all of that going on. That's got to be very scary to live near that. Mm-hmm. But I also don't condone it either, because something's got to change. Like, this system, this isn't okay. The way that this country is run and has been run. And so I really hope that something positive comes from it. I hope. I mean, I've seen in the past when we've had some uprisings in the country, unfortunately, it happens, and then everyone goes about their life, and then nothing changes. So,
right.
One thing I ask a lot of white people to challenge themselves on is why all of a sudden now are you showing up to march? Like, where has your support been?
Right.
And why would it take this amount of publicity polarizing the black community with things that have been going on forever? Why now? Why is that outraging you now? But you chose to look the other way for so long.
Right. Brother JRICH, you want to go in on that real quick before I take the next caller?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like, I have mixed feelings about the riot, but I don't condone it, because I can't tell someone how to deal with their emotions. But I do remember that And you should remember, and you probably remember as well, the same thing went on in Minnesota not too long ago. You know what I mean? And you think that when all of this rioting and everything went on, and they're lashing out because of police brutality, what changed in Minnesota? You know what I mean? Over these years, over the last time that they had riots or what have you, what is it that they've changed within their own community, within their own police force? I mean, because when it really comes down to it, you know, with all like the marching, all the rioting and everything else, if the power structure within the police department does not change, then nothing changes. And we can see that from, I think it was 5 years ago, up until this point, it's been the same thing. And when people were mad and they were marching back then, and now they're looking to burn like this. And I'm not, and you know what? I don't even believe that most of the people that are out there that really want change are the ones that are starting fires, are the ones that are breaking into stores. You have a lot of optimism. You have a lot of people that are just taking advantage of the situation. But at the same time, you know what I mean? When are the citizens looking at, and it goes back to what I said before, you vote your sheriff in. You vote these people into place or what have you. What is taking place? You know what I mean? That you have started to look at the laws and the way the police department is structured. That says, you know what, we need to do an overhaul from head to toe, because just the same way that guy's brother-in-law was looking out to make sure nobody came and interrupted them murdering this man. You know what I mean? The ones that do it without a camera there are going to look out for them then. They're not going to step forward and be like, hey, man, you know, officer such and such, you know what I mean, use unnecessary force. Officer this did this. Officer such and such planted drugs on this person. Officer. And until you get that type of people in the police, I find it absolutely amazing that you put on a uniform, you grab your gun and your badge, and you run out to like the poorest of people, and you want to over-police them, but you turn a blind eye to the exact same crimes being committed by the person that rides next to you in a car.
Well, wow. I'm going to take another call, Magenta. Thank you again for calling. Did you want to close out? Any close out thoughts? Oh, any thoughts on Dojo Cat? Any thoughts on Dojo Cat?
No, sir. Not on that.
Okay. But no, just go on and close out, fellas. That's right.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm just trying to, you know, do the best I can to be an ally for the community and listen, and work on just changing those thought patterns. And you know, the mind is a powerful thing. So if you can change that thought pattern of racism that gets instilled into white people, you know, that can change for the future. And just learning to listen to your people in the community and not telling you all how to go about change and activism.
All right. Well, I thank you for calling. You shook me up. I didn't know that was you today. We got to get you back on here as well. We got to get you back on here as well.
Yeah, 100%.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Have a good one. I appreciate you. Peace.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, brother JRICH, I'm gonna take another call. 5323. You are now live. 5323. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Daryl Edwards, and I'm calling from Baltimore. I know Brother Rich. Hold on, I see this phone going dead. I didn't recognize it right off. I was just thinking on 3 points rather, with what was being said earlier about economics. Mm-hmm. And you have to keep in mind about Reconstruction, how that came about and took the entrepreneur into being the worker. And then the second is, during that time, was going from being black to being Afro-American. So all this plays an important part in the way that they are structuring today's society. with the children and the educational system. So basically, Reconstruction started shortly after King, when they took you into wanting to become a worker as opposed to an owner. So if you look at the financial aspect of it, then you have to look at it all the way around the board. If you don't have ownership, you have nothing. Land is power. Don't believe paper money is power. Land is power. Economic unity is power. So I agree with JRICH on that, and that was a valid point to be made. I think that with what he said also about the riots going on, I see, as he see with that, there's a lot of opportunistic creatures that they're using it for an excuse just to be destructive. However, I believe that the vast majority of them believe that it's time. And as I'm watching CNN now, it's to make a point, and I have to be honest with when I say this, no people have ever gained their independence through diplomacy. 3 countries of color that I can recall only that gained their independence. The first was Ghana, second was Haiti, and third was Cuba. Now, if I got the orders a little out, but I believe that's the right order. And all of them came through a revolutionary stance. Toussaint Louverture, Fidel, and Che, and I forget the exact leader that they had garnered. So you have to take all this in mind when you're educating your own people. They have to know how to do things. You can't just, sit them out there, because they'll be sitting ducks if they're not properly educated for an independent nation to work towards.
Let me ask you something, Brother Daryl, because you made some valid points out there.
Yes,
how do we go about getting our people unified and trained? I mean, that is something that I think that is a huge issue in our community. It's hard for people to speak on things when they're not educated on it. So how do we go about unifying them and getting them trained?
Well, first to start with platforms like this. You got to get them interested in seeing themselves in the platform and issue to want to take part. That's first, because the system that we were educated through, and I can speak personally that, I was a pretty decent student at one time, but I didn't see myself in the curriculum. I can remember in 11th grade reading about Hannibal, but they just said a man of color. They didn't say he was a black man, And then as I got older and started self-educating and know that Hannibal was a man that took 12 elephants and beat up Rome, which was the great empire. So, we have to be able to get these guys, and like Rich was saying, they have different clothing lines and things like that. You gotta reach out to the mindset of them, things to be, that's fashionable to them, because, I think it was him saying something, or I know I have said it because I work with the public. They'll get up early in the morning and stand in line for Jordans, but won't get up and go and look for a job or pick up a book to try to start or find out where to start at for entrepreneurship. And so these are the issues that you would really have to plant the seeds that you got to believe that you can do as well. Now, it's not going to be easy because, as Jay Rich said, the deck is definitely stacked. He forgot one place, though. When he said Oklahoma, I was right with him, so I put it in my notes while I was listening. Don't forget Rosewood in Florida. Please. Matter of fact, they made a movie. Don't forget Rosewood, because them people were very well to do African-American or affluential African-American folks also, which means they kept most of their money within that community.
Right.
So it just wasn't about that lie alone. It was about seeing the economic growth of that little community in Florida, which got all them people killed and the town itself burnt to the ground. Now, of course, Hollywood and there's no disrespect to none of the callers, because you do have good Americans that would do good things, but of course, John Voight, the romanticized that particular role in the movie. But, them people were pretty much, if you're going to look into it, well-to-do all by themselves.
You want to go in there? Go in, Joe Rich.
Brother Durham,
Yes,
I
sir.
know you brought up Rosewood, but from our time growing up, I'll give you Forestville. I'll give you District
Oh
Heights.
yeah. Okay.
Uh,
Yes. Wintergreen.
Suit,
Wintergreen District Heights.
you know,
Specifically. Yes, sir.
the PG County, you know what I mean, still houses, you know what I mean, the largest concentration of black millionaires in the country, and yet they're still seen as, you know what I mean, a ghetto. You know, you talk about PG County is still seen as a ghetto. When you go back and you like, and it goes into what you were saying about the mentality, what's being taught. These kids are being taught that, you know what I mean, or you'll never be anything, you know what I mean? No, what are you talking about? You are growing up in a community of millionaires, of black millionaires that live in your community. You have resources. You can go and tap those resources and find out how do I get to this point? You know, the biggest problem is that is through what see and what's advertised and what's put in front of us. Jordans are seen much more important than a diploma. Jordans is seen much more important than getting a degree. Jordans are seen much more important than learning a trade. You know what I mean? Who beat who on Madden is much more important, my man. Who beat who on Madden?
Absolutely.
UK, you know what I mean? That right there, you know what I mean, takes precedent over somebody graduating from college, over someone actually trying to start their own business. You know, we have to start, you know what I mean? Listen, man, at some point we have to start putting these games away. We have to start putting like this old fashioned away and start to say, you know what, we can create our own fashions, we can create our own community, we can create our own reality if we just change the way that we think. And like you said, man, it starts, man, with the children, man, and the imagery that they see and what's taught to them. If you teach a child, you know what I mean, the importance of Jordan, and you don't teach them the importance of saving money, then what is it they're going to grow up to inspire to get? They're going to grow up to inspire to get a pair of shoes, not to save their money. I just had a long conversation me and my son Saturday. We're riding in the car and we had a long conversation. It goes back to like what the previous caller said. I shouldn't have to sit in the car and teach my son, you know what I mean? If this happens, then you have to do this, or if this happens, you have to do this, and you have to learn how to do this, you have to learn how to do this, all because this is the way society deals with you. Because white parents aren't sitting down with their kids telling them, you know what I mean? If the police pull you over, keep your hands on the wheel. You know what I mean? Don't reach for anything.
Yes, sir. We just had that today.
We have to teach our kids that. They don't have to teach their kids that. You know, we have to teach our kids, listen, man, there's something more important than Jordans, because everybody else is getting this influence on our children that the biggest thing is what you look like in your fashion. Do you got on a polo shirt? Do you got on some Izod? Do you got on this? You know what I mean? It's education and building a power structure is not embedded in our children.
Right.
That's right.
And if you'll just let me add one last little thing, and that started again with the Reconstruction period. And see, then I have to take it back to the plantation, which is this. You know, now I'm a very light brother, you know that, but it started with the light skin against the dark skin, the good hair, curly hair against the nappy hair. And so when they did Reconstruction, they said, well, that's not going to hold up no more. So what we need to do now in order to break up that structure is we got to pit the man against the woman, the children against the parents. And so, see, this is why you have the chaos that you have now with the children that don't respect nobody, because they want it to where they want them to fear the people in uniform, and you give them the parental right to do whatever. And this is why, as I watch this in New York, D.C., Baltimore, and it's getting out of hand now, I gotta say, if this is what it takes to get the attention to say, well, look, stop killing. You know, you already got, you know, somebody that's already subdued, and then they got some other stuff on social media with this one who took the baton, jumped on him, took the police cruiser, but no bullets fired, no nothing. So if this is what it takes, even with the bad actors, as they say, then I'm for that. But again, with Reconstruction, they did this, and so it's really up to the men, the brothers, to really unify in brotherly love and start being as one. to bring the message of education to themselves, like you say, because they only understand flashy things. The man that's riding around with the big car with the 20-inch rims that wear the Jordan and got a pocket full of money. So they would never know, as Killer Mike say, that the pocket full of money is spent, but your investment reinvest. If you got an apartment building or so forth and so on. So that's my last point on that.
I appreciate you for calling, Brother Daryl. And please, you got to call in our next show. We appreciate you being a part of the discussion.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Have a great one. Have a good one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but it kills me, man. We see so many videos, man, of police of people of different colors, man, that can fight with the police, put hands on the police, and not one shot is ever fired, man. No shots are ever fired. When and I agree. Well, I mean, yes, man. I was all for, man. Man, if it takes burning down the city to get somebody's attention, to burn down the city. But don't come back and tell me that, the same people that live in Section 8 or HUD housing turned around on the first night of looting and marching, that they burned down their own house with all this stuff in it, with their neighbors and everything else. They burned down their own apartment building. I don't believe that. That's absolute nonsense. Who in their right mind is like, man, I'm tired of police brutality, I'm gonna burn my house down? No one. Absolutely no one. So there are agents, that are in the midst of these people. They're walking with you, but they're not with you. You know what I mean? They're there. They're beside you, but they're not a part of you. They're not with you. And I think at some point, man, we have to start, even with let these rides go, and we have to start scaling back and go back home, man. Go back to our safety net. Not necessarily our safety net, but not get caught up into what it is, because they're trying to take things to a whole nother level. And we have to make sure that we're not being a part of that, because at the end of the day, all of them are going to go back to the cities and go back to their towns that they live in. They don't live where you live. They're going to go back to their home, nice and safe, and you're going to be You're going to be the face of destruction. You're going to be the face of destruction, man. And it's just going to be the same old narrative. Black people, they ride, they tear up their own thing, ain't nobody burning their own house down, man. I don't believe that for 1 minute. Not 1 minute.
Are you looking at the screen, brother?
Huh?
You looking at the screen?
I've looked over there. My wife, are we still on?
Yeah, we're still on. I think we might have got kicked out of Facebook. We like all over the place. Yeah. Africa TV, Twitch TV, like 3 different YouTube spots. So we definitely getting it in. But brother
Facebook thing, man.
Yeah. But so we're still up on Facebook. We are still up on Facebook. That's for sure. Yeah, man, this has been a powerful show, brother JRICH. Anything we missed you want to get into real quick? Because we had a phenomenal week with a lot of things going on that was just crazy. You know what I mean? And it's just been crazy. It's been a crazy few days, man. Let me ask you this. What is your thoughts on the Joe Biden saying we're not black if we don't vote for him? If you don't vote for Joe Biden, you're not black.
I think that it was a joke and very poor taste. That I will admit that I do think that he was joking. I'll give him that. I think that he was joking. Do I think that it's a time for him to be joking around and everything? Absolutely, positively not. It wasn't accepted. It wasn't, It didn't go the way he thought it would go. And for Joe Biden to again win Minnesota. When they rioted before he was in office, he was vice president. When Mike Brown got shot down in the middle of the street, by the police. When Trayvon Martin got killed, When Sandra Bland was killed. When the other brother, and forgive me, I'm horrible with names, got choked out in New York saying the same old thing. I can't breathe. When the brother down in South Carolina got shot in the back because he thought he was going to get locked up over riding without a registration, and the police officer shot him in the back 6 times and got off. Joe Biden was vice president, and as vice president, him and Obama, you know what I mean, passed the bill to give military arms to the police. And at the same time, they stood in front of a camera and they said that, oh, you know, we're gonna have to look at police brutality, you know what I mean, one case at a time. If they actually took the time to look at police brutality one case at a time, our federal courts should be loaded. Their docket should be loaded every single day from the time they open to the time they close to this day, investigating police brutality. But it isn't. It isn't. These people are not brought to, they're not brought to, the charges are not brought against them. The Washington Post ran a story showing you statistics, broke down the statistics of every officer that was involved in a shooting of an unarmed citizen. I'm not talking about blacks. I'm talking about every unarmed citizen. 99% of those police officers got off. Either they never got charged with the crime, the judge threw it out, the jury found them not guilty, the grand jury refused to bring charges, and out of all, I think it was like 400 or 500 cases, you know, and out of all of them, only two people actually got sentenced. One of them got his sentence reduced. So now we're talking about hundreds of police officers that actually, you know what I mean, shot an unarmed citizen. To this day, only one of them is sitting in prison. Think about that. And then you go out and then you come back and you tell me that burning down a building that can be replaced, that you talking about looting, breaking the windows of a car that can be replaced. How can you replace the lives of those people that got killed? You can't. You can replace tires on a car. You can replace the windows. You can replace all the stuff that was in Target and every other store. You can replace things. You cannot replace people. So when you sit back and you say like, oh, I can't believe that they're tearing this up, you should be asking yourself, I can't believe why the officers are continuing to kill people. If you're not asking yourself that question, then you're probably part of the problem. Because things can be replaced. People cannot.
Yeah, man, you've been flowing today, brother JRICH. You was flowing. This has been a powerful show. Before we close out on one, we got some other shows coming up. I want you to talk about the next show we're going to be doing. Introduce the brother and let him know, because it's going to be powerful. You know, we're not messing around with him in 2020 at the Real Truth to Power family. So talk about the next show that we'll be doing. Who will we be interviewing?
We're going on live with a brother from On Point Arms, black gun owner. Very rare that you'll find like a gun owner. He owns his own business, owns his own shop, ships all over the U.S. He's going to come on and he's going to talk to us about NAGA, the National African American Gun Rights Association. He's going to talk about your rights, how you can go about obtaining arms, why you should go about obtaining arms, how to get trained, and everything else. It's very powerful, especially in this time of day, man, where we're dying. And like the Reverend said, man, you know what I mean? We're fighting more than one enemy. You know what I mean? We're fighting multiple enemies, man, on the same front, man. We're fighting against people that look just like us. You know, we're fighting against, you know what I mean, police. We're fighting against the system, man, you know. And I think it's very important for this brother to come on and give people, man, let people know their rights, man, about gun ownership. Let the people know their rights about protecting themselves. Let them know that there is an organization, the NRA, that very rarely ever, you never hear the NRA will take your money unless you be a member. But when something happens, you know what I mean, to us, you know, you don't hear from the NRA. You don't hear from them at all. You know, Gun Rights of America. You know, they'll send you emails and next thing you know what I mean, to donate to their cause. You know what I mean, all about the 2A rights. But when it's a police officer involved shooting down a black person, you don't hear from them. You know what I mean? But, you know what I mean? But we do there is, you know what I mean, a gun rights association for us, by us. And he's going to give us a lot of powerful information. He's going to give us powerful information about, like, black gun manufacturing. You don't have to go and get a Glock. You know what I mean? You can go and get a firearm made by a black person. You know what I mean? And again, supporting our own community. I want to shout out to my man Ernest Shaw, or whatever, you know. That's been trying to get over me doing all of this. And I want to say another powerful thing from a man in Neri, out there in LA. He made a very powerful point when Brother Daryl was on. He said that it's much easier for us to consume than it is for us to educate. That's powerful, man, and that's something that we should really think about. It's much easier to be a consumer than it is to be an educator, and we have to make that flip, man. We have to make that change.
Man, I'm glad you said that, because we always talk about it, Real Truth and Power, being poised, being a producer, a owner, investor, saver, and an entrepreneur. And that POIS, producer, owner, investor, saver, entrepreneur. It doesn't say anything about spending. You know, don't get me wrong. You work hard, you play hard. You know, I work hard. You know, I get fresh shoes. I get my shirts and things of that nature. And I'm learning, as we all are learning, to save, to own, to buy something that's meaningful, that will build generational wealth, something I can leave my kids besides a business, land, stuff like that. So that's a powerful statement, Brother JRICH. That's a powerful statement, man. And before we go, just make sure everything is good. Yep, it looks like we took care of everything. On the phone lines. I guess we was busy tonight. No more Last Dance. It's Sunday, so you know. I guess nobody really wanted to mess with Lance Armstrong, even though I thought that 30-30 was decent. But let's go ahead and let me have you close out, Brother JRICH, so we can get ready for tomorrow's show.
Hey, man, I think that we've made our message very clear, man, out here in the streets, man, into all these cities. Before, man, they send in, you know what I mean? I was really hurt, man, to be honest with you, man. I was really hurt, and I was going through some things earlier today, man, when I looked, and it brought me almost to tears, man, to look and see people in other countries standing outside U.S. embassies, chanting Black Lives Matter. And we have a president that says when they start looting, start shooting. That hurts, man. That hurts a lot. You know, that you have other people that value your life, you know what I mean, much more than the person that was elected to look out for your life. You have a president that says, you know what I mean, I'm going to send in the army to go in, you know what I mean, and take care of this situation if you can't. You tell me and anybody that want to leave it on like the message board and call in, whatever, man. You show me one country where the leader has brought in the army and used that army against its own people in a positive manner. Show me one. You know what I mean? It has been. When you start talking about you're mad because Twitter said that you lied, or they didn't even say you lied. They just said check the facts. You know what I mean? What he said. And you start talking about government censorship on private media. When you start censoring the media, when you start talking about bringing the military in to control citizens, when you start talking about restricting money to certain areas, when you're talking about mass incarceration, when you're putting people in concentration camps that are built for 100 people and you have 400 people there, people think that, you know what I mean, that just because you are in this country illegally that you should be able to be treated like an animal. These concentration camps are going on today, right now as we speak. People forget that that, you know, as I voted for Obama, and I'll admit it, I voted for Obama, but Obama is not, you know what I mean, is not blameless. His hands, you know what I mean, his hands are dirty in this. He funded money. He gave the police these military weapons. Not only that, he went into North Africa and opened up free slave trade that is going on in Libya to this day. There are atrocities that are going across this planet to this day, and it all comes back to America. America needs to wake up. And it's not, and to be honest with you, most of the time it's not even the minorities that need to wake up. It's the people that walk around sleepwalking, thinking that these things do not happen. They happen right here in this country as they do worldwide. And to see people standing outside of Berlin chanting Black Lives Matter and you have a president talking about shoot them down in the street. You have New York police force that's running people over with their cars. You have in Minnesota plainclothes cops setting fires to stores and starting, starting riots. You have people down in Atlanta. You have people down in Houston. You have people in LA, all over the country reporting like, hey, man, these are police officers out here, man, doing this stuff, and they're taking pictures of them. They're putting them out there. Something is wrong with the system if people are protesting police brutality, and Sean King has stated that this is probably one of the bloodiest, deadliest days of police brutality in this country, because you have a governor, you have a mayor in New York that says, hey, man, y'all have the right to do whatever it is y'all need to do. Absolutely crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Anytime you are willing to bring the military in to kill your own people, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. Instead of just looking at the system and saying there's something about the system that needs to change.
Yeah, man. Like you say, Trump is going gangster. That's a real gangster. That's a real gangster. He don't go for his own. He going for the other. And he's a bully at it. Right. So, he's a bully at it. But Jay Rich, go ahead.
Where was the tear gas and the rubber bullets, you know what I mean, when you had people marching in the streets with live ammunition because they were tired of being in the house? Mm-hmm. Where was it then? When they were yelling in the police face, I didn't see the cops, taking people's cell phones and throwing them. I didn't see them pushing them back with, through the barricade. I didn't see them running them over with the cars. I didn't see any of this. When they were marching through the streets with live ammunition in their guns, and they're up in the Capitol, I didn't see all of that. But I did see peaceful movements when people were just standing there, yelling and expressing their own feelings. I seen tear gas. I seen them get tear gas. I seen them get shot by rubber bullets. I seen tanks going through communities that weren't protesting, and them being shot at by police officers. I seen that.
Right.
And if you don't understand that, then you don't. Then you really need to sit down and ask yourself what type of country you live in.
Yeah, man. When you've been flowing, brother Jay Rich, I'm gonna close out, man. Just end with give the people the peace, and because we got another powerful one coming up, so I'm gonna close out.
Peace, brother.
All right.
Stay safe.
Peace and blessings. That was Brother Jay Rich. And, man, we had another powerful show. I want to thank everybody for calling up and staying on hold. We might have had a little bit of technical difficulties, but as usual, we made it through. Again, you guys got to stay tuned tomorrow because we have another powerful show. If we don't air it tomorrow, it's going to air definitely Wednesday. Again, we're talking to someone who is heavy in the guns. He's going to be giving us the laws and the rules so we can protect ourselves if possible and talk about some of the things of that nature. So, man, again, another powerful show. I want to say thank you, peace and blessings, Hotep, and we are out of here. Let me get the theme music going so I can close out. We out of here.
Real truth and power. Health. Wealth. Knowledge of self. Uplifting the community. Let's talk about it. uplifting the community. Let's talk about it.